Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Toria.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. You know, it's not yet been a year that we've had Bree.
It'll be a year in like a month or so, though, because we got her in September.
Yep. Pretty soon. But she is such a comical dog.
A ball hound?
She loves a ball.
And a bone.
And
she
toys. Loves the bone. And if she picks a certain toy.
And frolicking.
She finds something and then she obsesses over it. And by obsess, I mean you could hide it from her and she will stare you down for hours waiting for you to give it back. Like,
you know,
she's so stubborn.
You know, she's kind of like you. When you get on a topic, that topic's kind of like all you want to talk about for a while. Like when you got really into podcasting, that's all we would talk about and all you wanted to do and all you wanted to learn about. But Bree, well, she's a dog. So she gets the ball and all she wants to do is play with the ball and stare at the ball and lick the ball and eat the ball and bite the ball and have you throw the ball. Now she's freaking out because I said ball so many times in a row.
Poor Bree.
Poor Bree.
She's going crazy nuts.
She's your dog.
But
clearly.
That's not really the same thing if you ask me. But
you saying it's a bit of a stretch?
But I can understand where you're coming from on that, so we'll just go with it. But that leads me to a second part of our series called
The Reality
Rant. Tonight we're going to talk about there's a 90 Day Fiance franchise, okay? There's all these different like shows that are spin-offs
and
of
we
that
watch
show.
All of them.
It's ingenious because they can record it all at the same time and chop it up and use it as content on other shows. It's ingenious how they do it. And now they have this Happily Ever After. It's like its 5th season, right?
I believe so, yes.
And most people just call it HEA, all right? And an HEA this time around starts off, it has Colt and
his mom Debbie.
His mom Debbie, well, actually his ex-wife Larissa.
And current girlfriend Jess.
And his current girlfriend Jess.
And Larissa's
current boyfriend somewhat Eric. There's an echo in this room. That's cool. I like it.
You're weird.
I like it. So I am weird, but that's okay. So are these people in Happily Ever After. They're weird.
This is my least favorite herd of people on this show, by the way.
Why is that, though?
Because Colt is a self-obsessed, obnoxious man-child.
Yes.
And Larissa's just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And somehow Colt gets these, like, women that are way out of his league to sleep with him.
Yeah, that's the part I don't understand.
And then he treats them like such shit that they go like full Lady Savage on him. And then...
Well, that's the thing. Hold on a second. Don't you think that if he treated them right, he could live like a king?
Okay.
Come on, think about it. Am I wrong?
No. Because
that woman is into him and he's into her. They're going to live in bliss. Like they're just going to be so happy all the time. And sometimes they'll have disagreements and whatever, but they're going to be happy.
One woman going full Lady Savage at him. Okay, the lady might be crazy. But both women going full Lady Savage at him? So in the most recent episode, he lied to her about something very large. And she got all feisty, as we all know Brazilian women can get, and she threw her stiletto at him.
Both of them.
Well, the first one was the most aggressive. The second one was kind of a light toss.
Yeah.
But I wish she had stronger arms. That's all I can say.
It was, she blew up at him because she found out that he was still talking to another woman.
Who he insisted was just a friend, but quietly told the cameras he slept with.
Also, I get confused because I follow some of these 90 Day Fiancé blogs that kind of feed you information in real time.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm confused as to whether this happened after or it was happening during, but it was actually, what am I trying to say here? The person who was like harmed in the situation because they were in love, what they didn't know is the other side felt the same way. But because they were like expecting each other to react differently, they completely missed it, screwed up their relationship.
See, what I read from the 90 Day bloggers about these people is that he actually is with the friend Vanessa and has been with the friend Vanessa all along and just dated these other women to get on TV.
And she was okay with that because he got paid.
Right. That's what I read.
Which, you know what? What gets me is very same people who bag on him for, oh my God, he's like a male prostitute. He's sleeping with this woman. He's sleeping with that woman. When really he has a relationship with this woman. Well, I say a few things there. As long as she's aware of the fact that he's doing that and she's actually okay with it,
then it's no one else's business.
It's no one else's business. It's between those people. Because the people who slept with him, they slept with him whatever. Their job to find out if he's married or not. It's not his job to just offer it up.
But you want to know what we do know? That he's actually in a really creepy relationship with his mom, Debbie.
Well, that's not wrong by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's weird, but it's not wrong. So that's a strange thing. And he's a weird dude.
You want to know who another weird dude is?
But yeah, another guy that's weird is Paul.
Why did you go there? That's not where I was going.
Yes, Paul and Karine. That's a weird couple.
I was thinking a more comparably weird dude was Asuelu.
Asuelu. He's like the same weird as the first guy.
Well, yeah.
He's the same weird as Colt. But Paul's like on the other end of the spectrum from Colt. Like, he's a wackadoodle.
How so?
You don't think Paul's a wackadoodle at all?
No, I think you should explain it so that other people can know why he's such a quote-unquote wackadoodle.
Oh, well, okay. Sure, I can tell you why. I'm assuming that people are listening to this because they watch the show. But you're right. Even then, I should describe
Maybe
it.
some of our listeners don't watch 90 Day Fiancé.
Maybe they listen to us to get the feedback. I get it. Never mind. You're right. I will step back and I will explain it. He's a wackadoodle because, first time he goes to Brazil to meet her, he brings with him so much stuff. And it wasn't like he brought a bunch of clothing with him. He brought netting and little tiny mini condoms to avoid parasites. He brought all kinds of weird stuff.
They weren't mini condoms. It was a regular condom that he put on himself at the airport before he went anywhere near the rest of the transportation because he was so terrified of the penis fish.
But whatever it was, it's weird.
So scared of the penis fish.
Really weird.
He also taped the condom to his dick so it wouldn't fall off.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. Okay. And then when faced with an argument, he runs away from her. And then some guy with a machete comes after them, nearly kills her, robs them, and he runs off into the fucking jungle.
And that was when he first told her he had a criminal record for burning down his ex-girlfriend's house and acting like a psychopath.
Yeah, so, okay.
She didn't run away screaming, and I don't know why.
Exactly, and that's the thing. people are saying, oh, should feel bad for Karine.
I don't
But
feel bad
and
for her
in
at
some
all.
ways, I could agree with that, except for the one big glaring thing. He didn't hide who he was. It's not like they spent a whole lot of time talking online. They talked for a bit, and then boom, he came to meet her.
Right.
So she got to see who he was
Like
face to
right
face,
away.
like quickly. And what he showed her was not good.
Was alarming.
Yeah, it was enough. That's not a red flag. I don't know what is.
If that's not a red flag, you should probably get your vision checked because you might be colorblind.
And like this guy now, he puts up like stuff on social media about stuff that they do, and then he'll delete it, and he'll act as though by deleting it he did the right thing. But he knows that people wait and watch for him to post things.
Right.
So he posts it, and like, you know, maybe 100,000 people see it. It's not that many people, but people see it, and they start judging.
Well, now she's an order of protection against him.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's been so quiet on social media that people are starting to speculate that he murdered her.
I've speculated that. I think he did. But, you know.
I think the post that went up today is not something he would have posted for her.
True.
But
True. I just worry that, I don't know.
I mean, it could still happen. They could still be moving to the Dateline franchise from 90 Day Fiancé. I mean, it could still happen.
Maybe because, I mean, if it were me, I would just, you know, stay away from that area of life. Social media, you know, I would just stay away from it.
Yeah.
Because that's what drives this stuff. Is him constantly going on social media and trying to create drama. And she has to create drama back. It's
And
sad.
he's an abusive one, that guy. And it's not like that he punches her. Well, though apparently the order of protection says otherwise.
Yeah.
But he doesn't
yeah.
like seem like the kind of dude who punches her, but he's manipulative.
But here's the thing that bothered me about the order of protection.
What?
Is that I watched live when the police came. And they kept asking her, did he hit her? Did he do anything to her? And she said, no, he doesn't do that. Why, if he raped her and stuff like that, why wouldn't she take the opportunity right then when the cops were there to tell the cops that he does that?
Maybe she was afraid to tell them while he was there.
They would have arrested him, though.
Well, she comes from a place where the police aren't exactly the most trustworthy people in the world.
Well, you know, they have their issues, and we'll see what happens going forward. So who do you want to talk about next?
Well, the next on the list we were actually supposed to be going off of is Asuelu and Kalani.
Wow, that's way down on my list. I have a different list, but okay.
Would you prefer to take the order?
Let's do Asuelu and Kalani.
The Samoan man-child
So these two,
and his very stupid wife.
you know, she's Mormon, and
Half Samoan.
she went, and half Samoan. Her dad is Samoan. And she went to Samoa. Dad took them to Samoa for a trip.
And then she decided
and she met
to
Asuelu.
use her best
and
judgment, of course, to lose her
She
virginity
lost
to
her
him.
virginity to Asuelu without using protection, by the way.
And came back pregnant.
Shocker of shockers, she was pregnant.
Of course she was.
So they decided that they needed to get married, and he got a K-1 visa, and he came over here. And I'm going to say I bet you because Samoa is an American territory.
He wasn't from American Samoa.
Even if he wasn't, because that area is so close to what's U.S. soil, basically, I'm sure it was easier to get the K-1 visa.
I'm sure it compared to getting a K-1 visa to come from Canada.
Yeah, exactly. That's my
But
point.
but he's not from the American part of Samoa, or he wouldn't have needed a visa at all.
But then they proceed to get pregnant a second time.
Before they even get married in the 90 days, she's knocked up again.
Yeah. Like, what is wrong with these people?
And he's just like a toddler. Like he doesn't know how to act around the babies. He doesn't help her at all. Earlier in the season, he called her a lying bitch because she was talking about how he doesn't help with anything.
Yeah.
Like in front of her mom, called her a lying bitch.
Yeah.
And then
And
pouted.
then said
through
that her
his-
mom's voice was annoying.
and her voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
then-
great.
And then Kalani's dad saw some of this stuff going on and kind of took him aside and, like, you know,
He had to come to Jesus.
basically let him know that if he didn't stop
Conversation.
acting like a baby and didn't start stepping up, that
he was going to use the Samoan way of handling it, which is throwing hands.
Right.
And, since the dad was at least twice as big, the dad's going to win that battle.
Well, yeah. Probably out of sheer experience.
Yeah.
Size unrelated.
Just, yeah. I mean, not a good one, so. I don't know. They're a weird couple, though. Like,
well, and his mom is like demanding they give her money, and his sisters are acting like children and demanding he give their mom money, but they're not giving her any money. Like, chill out. He should be taking care of his children first.
Yes, agreed. And that's the thing. If the others were taking care of their children and giving mom money, then they'd have a right to complain about him not doing the same. But the problem is, even then, they don't have a right to complain about the amount. He can only give what he can afford to give.
She doesn't want the money for her to take care of her.
No.
She wants to send money back
to the church,
to the island and the church, so that she looks good.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
With his money.
Yeah.
That takes food right out of the mouths of her grandchildren.
Right, that she doesn't seem to give two shits about at all.
Yeah, like, wow.
What a spectacular human being.
Because, especially the part where she storms off, I was thinking to myself, my gosh, like, that's one thing about their grandma that I have lots of respect for.
Whose grandma?
The kids, Mitchell and
there
Ash,
you go.
Their grandma. I have a lot of respect for her because there were times where she and I were not seeing eye to eye. But she never stormed off in a huff. I never stormed off in a huff. We always stuck around because of the kids. And that's then when the kids weren't around, we just didn't hang out with each other. Sometimes Allison would go off with her mom and do whatever, and I would just stay back at the hotel and go in the swimming pool and just relax.
Sounds like a party.
Have to go,
Right.
And I liked that her mom doesn't hold that against me because she realizes, from her perspective, she was doing the same thing with me.
Yep.
So, we might not have seen eye to eye, but we respect one another, and that's huge. And I appreciate that. I like people that can be that way no matter what. It's huge. It's huge.
It's called being an adult.
But these people can't be adults for some reason, and they don't get it. Like even her. She seems so smart, but she's constantly just kind of being passive aggressive. Oh, well, I guess we can do what you want, but it's not really what I want. Rather than just saying, no, we're not doing that one. Nope. Sorry. We had 2 kids because it's what you wanted. Now, going to do something my way. I don't know. I don't get it.
How about Tanya and Sinjin? Because Tanya is the woman you just described.
Is she?
She says what she wants, and if you don't do it her way, she has a cow.
Really? Is she really, though? Really? Come on. Let's talk about it. I'm asking.
Do you not think she is? Because you're acting
I haven't said whether I think she is or she isn't. I asked a question. Is she really?
Yes.
Let's talk about some times when she's been that unruly. Where it was either her way or no way.
Jesus. How about when she broke her foot and insisted he had to carry her around the house despite the fact that she had a walking cast?
So you're saying that's her having a cow?
She did when he wouldn't carry her.
Okay.
How about when he
that.
didn't get the first job he went on an interview for, but made some friends, so he stayed to have a couple of drinks with them?
It was more than a couple, but yeah.
It didn't hurt her at all. He didn't pay for those drinks.
Well, exactly. That's the part that, to me, separates which side I would be on. Because if it cost him even $2, I say she has every right to be upset. Because who are we to tell her what she's comfortable spending on something like that. We're not. That's what two of them need to talk about that. And he didn't do that ahead of time. So that means we have to decide, is she being reasonable or not? If she's being reasonable, she wins. And if she's not, he wins. And in this case, she's not. So
well, it sounds like he's the exact same person as she met in South Africa. So I'm not sure why you would bring somebody to the U.S. and marry them and then expect them to be a different person.
Well, right. And there's people like some dummies say things like, well, she shouldn't have spread her legs and had sex with him. Really? Who cares? That isn't the issue. Even getting pregnant wouldn't be the issue. Let's be real. It wouldn't be.
We're not talking about Kalani anymore.
I'm saying even if she got pregnant, I still don't see that as a reason for them to get married.
Okay.
That's all I'm trying to say. So she's not pregnant. She gets to choose. Like, all right, I'm out of here. Peace out. I don't understand why if she... Yeah, really, there's only one or two things. She either liked what she saw in South Africa, and so she brought it here to America, and then started to complain about it.
So you're saying she liked it, so she put a ring on it?
Yes. But then starts to complain about it because she figured she'd tweak it a little bit here and a little bit there.
It's not really tweakable.
Which isn't going to happen. Okay? He's a free spirit. And I like that about him, actually. I think that's one of his endearing qualities.
I think he's a super nice dude.
Is that he's just like, down to earth dude.
He's not really the type of dude you marry. But he's definitely the type of dude who you'd like to be friends with because it could be a party all the time. And he's a nice guy.
But okay. But there you go. She chose to marry him. So I think at that point, she owes a lot more effort to the situation than just some, passerby kind of thing. And sometimes I don't think she gives too much effort to their relationship. But that could be, I admit, could be the editing. We are not always seeing the entire story. I know it.
Don't give her the benefit of the doubt.
I know it. So it could be just being real.
No,
hey, we talk about being real. I'm just being real.
Let's stay on the bandwagon of super controlling women, and who's next?
I don't know. Who do you want to talk about next?
Angela and Michael.
Oh, Angela and Michael. Oh, yeah.
You get to tell everybody.
Those two. Okay, so this is a tough couple to discuss because, for one thing, the poor guy comes from a country, Nigeria, that's known for being home to many scammers. So that's the first thing. Like, I remember the very first scam I ever heard of on the internet was the Nigerian prince scam about I have all this money and I need your help getting it out. And
I think it was the very first internet scam.
And people fell for it left, right, and sideways, man. Like, it was big time. So they got a bad reputation, Nigeria. So that's the first problem in his strike against him. Now, another strike against them is that, don't forget now, he's Nigerian. So that pretty much guarantees he's black. Okay. And this guy happens to be black, Michael. And this is important to remember because of the way our society is segmented. It shouldn't happen this way, but it does.
She's from Georgia. Just say
Georgia.
Redneck Georgia.
She's
not
like
Atlanta.
A redneck lady. And she's in love with a black guy. Now, more power to her. I think that's awesome. But how real is it that she's going to get him over here to the United States to live where she lives and have him live being comfortably? No, he's going to get harassed.
He's going to experience a whole new level.
The KKK is going to show up at their door and burn a cross.
I feel bad for him because he's a nice dude
too. Exactly. I feel bad for him, but it's like at the same time, you got to ask yourself, just like the last couple, why go with her if you can't tolerate the way she acts? I'd have been gone a long time ago. You and I both know that.
Right.
A long time ago.
Well,
and you know what?
Kind of a psycho.
Frankly, so would have you.
It's funny. I think back to the very beginning of their story when she first went to Nigeria and she brought him the Donald Trump boxers.
Right.
And he was like all excited because he's in love with Donald Trump.
He loves Trump.
Which just made him seem more like a scammer. Sorry, but and then she aggressively shoved the camera people out of the room so that they could get it on.
Yeah.
And then the season went on and whatever. And then after the season's over, they always get to, do their own thing on social media and they can say, like, fill in the blanks and stuff. And he was insisting that she'd raped him.
Yeah.
And then he said no. And that she had assaulted him.
Rode him like a horse.
Yeah. Which in itself was a horrifying visual. But but then they're still I was so surprised when they came back.
I bet you Googled to see if there's any secret footage anywhere.
0% wanting to see
I'm
that.
kidding.
Anyway, so the reason the Donald Trump boxers are so fucking funny to me now is because somebody used that man to woman, woman to man app and turned Donald Trump into a woman, and it looks just like Angela. Like, the resemblance.
Oh, that's funny because we always say she's like the female Donald Trump, and
she
I
even
agree
has
with
the weird
you.
mouth wrinkles.
And I agree with you. I agree with you on that, 100%. I think she's like a female Donald Trump. But that's kind of interesting that you see that about her. And that's why I feel bad for them, because they're going down a pathway that they're doomed to fail at. And not to mention the fact that Nigeria is on the ban list. So you got too many things against you. And
well,
I mean,
she's a whole new level of white trash.
That one podcast, I can get them all confused, so I'm not going to say which one and get it all confused. But the one podcast has that immigration agent, former immigration agent. You never know if you can trust these people, but let's just say he is what he says he is.
He says he's a former immigration agent.
Right.
We're just going to go with that.
Let's just go with it and say that's what he is. He says that what they have to do now is apply for a waiver to the ban, because they can't even file a K-1 until the waiver to the ban.
Well, they're married
granted.
now. They're not trying to do K-1 anymore. Now they're trying to do a spousal visa.
Still has to file a waiver to the ban.
I understand that, but now it's a spousal visa.
Either kind of visa. You can't file it until the waiver is in. So that's going to be an interesting quandary that they're going to face. Is they're going to have to jump through the hoops twice with immigration. That's no fun. And it also, it increases the odds that you're not going to get approved. It just does. And like I said, it's sad that area of the world has that reputation, but it created the reputation for itself.
Yeah. Also, they got married before the travel ban included Nigeria, which means his initial K-1 was declined before that travel ban was put into effect, because it only got put into effect in February of 2020.
So he didn't get denied because of the travel ban?
No, he got denied because they have a massive age difference. He's coming from Nigeria, and she is sketchy.
Yes, and so that's right, because of the daughter and all that. And so I would bet between her family's criminal history,
I think she has too much monetary obligation here to support him.
And then where he comes from.
Yeah.
Between those two things just there, that probably disqualifies them. And then they put the nail in the coffin with what you just said. Well, you can't afford to support him. So that's interesting. So talking about supporting a person, let's talk about our favorite people, Andre and Libby.
They're actually the least annoying couple on this season.
Says you.
Who do you think is least annoying?
To me, honestly, the least annoying.
Yeah, exactly. It's really freaking hard to pick one.
To me, the least annoying is Colt and Jess, because I think Jess is cute, and I think she's funny, and I think she's smart. And I like how they all think they're pulling one over on the dumb Brazilian girl, and the whole time the dumb Brazilian girl is pulling it over on you. And the proof of that was in that last episode where she said, she told him he was trash, and that
he said he was too shitty to be trash.
Yeah, and then she said, no, you're not good enough to even be trash. And then tells him, well, I'm going to go to my ex. I'm going to go fuck my ex.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just gave it to him. She didn't sit there and wallow in it and be like, oh, he cheated on me, boo-hoo-hoo. That may be how she felt on the inside, but on the outside, she was just like, rawr.
Excuse me, but them as a couple includes Debbie, his mom, Larissa, and Eric. So you think that Fivesome is the least annoying on the show?
No, I said Colt and Jess. Period. I was very specific.
I know, but that doesn't count. You have to pick a group.
It does
of people.
count. Give me this. It doesn't count.
Anyway, back to Libby and Andre.
Oh my God.
We're actually the least annoying one this season.
If you say so. I mean, how can you say that? Andre, suddenly, they get to Moldova, and Andre's, theme has been, in America,
macho.
In America, you listen once. Here in Moldova, you listen twice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? Macho man bullcrap. Ho ho, me man, you woman. We in Moldova.
How many Eastern European men have you met in your life?
I hit you overhead with club.
Any? Yes. Truly Eastern European men who've come fresh from there?
Yes.
They're all like that.
It doesn't make it any less disgusting.
It's how life is there. I realize that it's probably not the nicest culture to specific people.
Hold on. Why is it that I'm supposed to change my opinion of it being disgusting because, that's how Eastern European men are?
You're not.
I mean, that doesn't make it any less disgusting.
Nobody said you should change your opinion.
If a certain group of people was into molesting children, I'd be saying put them in jail. I wouldn't be like, well, that's how they are over there in their country. They like to screw little kids. No. Screw that. No pun
I don't
intended.
understand how those two ever ended up together, though, because she thinks she's a strong woman while acting like a subdued little housewife. And he thinks she's a subdued little housewife and acts accordingly. But as soon as Libby's family comes around, she's all mouthy and she's all like, I am strong woman. Hear me roar, dumb shit. But she doesn't actually act like that when he's just there. So she's crazy bipolar.
Which then leads her family to believe that he's extra controlling, and it's not true. He's controlling, but he's not as controlling as her family
and
thinks.
She's okay with it.
Yes. That's the most important part.
She is okay with how they interact.
It's the same thing as we talked about for a hot second with Colt. If he's with that chick Vanessa and she's okay with him banging these other women so that they make some money, that's between them. We don't get to judge that.
Right.
So same thing with these people. We don't get to judge that.
But that's why I think they're the least annoying, by the way. It's not because of Andre and how I'm kind of used to people who act like him, or Libby's family being literally the worst. But it's because they actually work well as a couple together when they're not around anybody else.
Well, and giant spoiler alert, her family actually really likes him.
Yeah, I know.
In real life.
But her family's a giant herd of criminals.
And it makes sense that it's confusing because, think about it. They've been married so long that they have a baby.
Yeah, they've been married for 2 years.
And now they're going to start asking, well, why did he go to Ireland? What's in his past? Why doesn't he tell us? Yeah,
there's a solid chance that his entire past was on the up and up. And that he was a police officer, detective-style dude. But I don't know. Do people not understand what detective-style people are like in some countries like that? They're the sketchiest sons of bitches in the world. So maybe he just didn't want to be part of that anymore. So he went to Ireland.
Exactly.
It doesn't necessarily mean he was a criminal. Stop assuming.
Well, but that's exactly it. Ask questions. People are very bad at asking questions. We've discussed this ad nauseum when we talk about political topics because people love to take one thing you say and pin it on somebody. And it's what the left side does all the time. Oh, you said something that's very similar to what Donald Trump says, so I'm going to say that you agree with Donald Trump.
Back to the topic, sir. Back to the topic.
Libby and Andre are like Donald Trump.
Only Andre is like Donald Trump.
He is. This is true. Andre, very controlling bro. But not as controlling as Libby's family thinks. Because Libby tolerates it.
No, hold on. Not as controlling as Libby's family. That's all you needed to say. Libby's family. No word thinks needed.
They are pretty controlling too. You're not wrong about that.
Why the heck do you think she went for a guy like that? That's because that's how she's been treated her entire life by her sisters and her dad.
That's probably how her dad is.
Like, just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
But see, that's why, like, in my situation, I say how to put it? You have to be careful that your kids are not with somebody like you, because chances are, since you and the mixture of their mom, that chemical reaction I always talk about, since those two things didn't work, it's not going to work for them either. They need to find somebody like the opposite of their dad and their mom. Like that's how that should work. But whatever. People do weird things.
He's being philosophical again. We should kick him.
So, who else is left to talk about?
I don't know. You had a list.
I lost my list.
I actually think that's it.
You sure?
No, you're the one with the list. Person who decided to go out of order of my list like a turd.
We talked about those suckers. Wow. Talked about them. Yeah, I think that's it.
In conclusion.
Because we did talk about Angela and Michael.
Yes. He's going to babble away. But in conclusion,
all
of the couples on this season suck ass.
I don't agree.
They're all awful.
I don't agree. I actually like Tanya and Sinjin. I like both of them. I see her flaws. I see his flaws.
Sweet Jesus.
I still like them.
You would shoot her in the head if you had to spend an hour in a room with her. We'd be
best friends.
Okay, if you say so.
We would be best friends.
She would start talking about soulmates and whining, and you would shoot her in her head.
She doesn't talk about soulmates, though. Yes, that's him that talks about soulmates.
No, it was her who insisted they had to talk to a spiritual advisor. And then she was talking about how he isn't her soulmate. Her first love was her soulmate. And he'll never be her soulmate. Blah, 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 blah.
And then she let it go. And
she didn't let it go.
Who keeps bringing it back up.
She keeps bringing it back up.
No, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
I am 100,000% correct.
Incorrect.
See, I win. You said
no, you don't.
I said 100,000.
You're still wrong.
Nope.
100,000 billion% wrong.
I win. Oh yeah. Ho ho. He took the ownership. Oh, yes.
Of being wrong. Okay.
I was right. Anyway.
Whatever.
I think what's interesting about these couples is that
nothing.
Their storylines seem a bit more concocted.
If you want to watch a train wreck, watch 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After.
It's very scripted.
You'll die.
It's very scripted. Would you agree it's very scripted?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it interesting to watch because
you watch what TLC thinks we think is amusing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. It's very weird. So enjoy Happily Ever After, 90 Day Fiancé. You'll find it in a streaming service next to you.
In all the places where TLC is.
In all the places where TLC is. You can get it. It's awesome. Love it. And
on that magically thrilling note.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Really? Sounds good to me. Hasta la bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.